Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks very much for being here today. As Brian said, we're in the midst of the discovery of a new high-grade gold district. You know, it's hard enough in this business to find a new deposit, but we're onto something that's quite unique. I think you'll recognize that as we go through the presentation. Not only are there now multiple deposits, they are high-grade, near surface, and there's more to come. So let me jump into it. Our forward-looking statements. I mentioned grade. These four deposits you see in front of you have all returned grades that major mining companies would be chasing at depths of half a kilometer or a kilometer in mature mining districts. Three of these are at surface. You know, you cast your eyes over these intersections. The most recent on the bottom left, 41 meters of 8 grams, 15 meters of 25, 15 meters of 42, and 23 meters of 17. These are four separate deposits that we've discovered in this new district that had never witnessed any exploration before we arrived. We discovered this from satellite imagery down to boot and hammer. The first discovery was Altan Nar back in the 2011 through 2015 period. But since 2016, we've made these other three discoveries, two of them just in the last 18 months on the backs of a financing that Eric Sprott did with us in mid-2020, which gave us the wherewithal to be more aggressive on the exploration. So Dark Horse and Ulaan, brand new discoveries, and I'll speak to each of these briefly. But first off, why did we go to Southwestern Mongolia? This is one of the world's great gold belts, the Central Asian Orogenic Belt. It hosts some of the true giants in our business. On the far left, you'll see Morintal, which is over 100 million, the largest gold deposit on the planet. And on the far right, Rio Tinto's largest development project in their pipeline today, Oyu Tolgoi, which will likely be a 60 million plus ounce deposit, porphyry copper gold. In between that, you can see a number of 5 to in excess of 20 million ounce deposits. The area we focused on, the Transaltai terrain in southwestern Mongolia, had never witnessed regional methodical exploration. We went in there in 2009 through 2011 and carried out the first true regional exploration program. We discovered these areas from satellite imagery, followed up with boot and hammer stream sediments, and arrived at what we have today, which is the new Hyundai Minerals District. That USGS study you'll see on the left-hand side of the screen was published, I guess, about a decade ago, but it looked at the entire Central Asian belt area and effectively arrived at the same conclusion we did, that this is the most fertile piece of the arc in this Central Asian orogenic belt. So Altan Nar was our first discovery. It's in the northern portion of what we call the Hyundai district. It was drilled in the 2011 to 2015 period during a time when it was very challenging to raise money for exploration. So we kind of scraped our way through that and established a 500,000 ounce deposit at close to 2 grams near surface. This is intermediate sulfidation, so it has a number of other byproducts associated with it, silver, lead, and zinc. It's about a 5 kilometer long trend, and that 500,000 ounces just sits in 2 small pits within that area, or planned pits. In 2016, we discovered Bayern Hyundai, so we really started to transition away from the Altan Nar discovery to an area to the south where we began to discover grab samples at surface that were running up to 4,000 grams per ton. We picked up multiple samples that were multi-ounce, an area of the planet that nobody had walked across before, least densely populated place in Mongolia, and we discovered the Bayern Hyundai deposit, which you can see in the southern part of this screen. Last year, we discovered Dark Horse and Ulaan. Dark Horse is about 2.5 kilometers north of the Bayern Hyundai deposit, and Ulaan about half a kilometer to the west. You get a sense of the landscape there on the right-hand side, sort of gently rolling hills, similar to a Nevada-type landscape. The images there with the team were just taken a few weeks ago on site as we get ready for the initial early construction phase at Bayern Hyundai. But let me just walk through briefly those three main discoveries. Bayern Hyundai, which was the focus of a feasibility study in 2020, has 600,000 plus ounces of over 2 grams. But within that, and within the economic pit, is 400,000 ounces of 3.7 grams. So it puts it in pretty rare company when you're looking at open pit grades globally. So this would be considered the initial pit, but to the west of this, and just announced this week, in fact, were some of the most recent intersections at the Ulaan discovery. The yellow highlighted holes there are ones we just announced on Monday of this past week. And you can see these grades, 41 meters of 8 grams, had a section of 3 meters of 68 grams per ton within it. We just discovered this in August of last year, so we're just beginning to step out, chasing the high-grade feeder zone. We have a pending hole which we've shared with the market in that recent release that has intense zones of visible gold stockwork veining as you go downtrend in that system. So this is an exciting one, just beginning to emerge as a third deposit on the license. To put this geology in perspective, what I just shared with you is Bayern, Hyundai, and Ulan on the right-hand side of the screen. To the center of the screen is a central high-temperature porphyry-type system around which you have these distal epithermal gold deposits. The other one that we've discovered early last year is the Dark Horse South system. Just starting to get our teeth into this, but we have identified an oxide zone at surface with exceptionally high grades, and exceptionally high grades that are continuing along at least 200 meters of strike. You can see in the gray boxes at the top of the screen the most recent intersections within 10 meters of surface. 15 meters of 42 grams, 23 meters of 11. Just a very unusually high-grade oxide zone at surface. Since we made this discovery and recognized the potential for these oxide systems, we've embarked on a very significant RC drilling program. We've just completed 200 shallow holes in the last month to follow up on other oxide targets. That area I just shared with you is in that dark rectangle area where it says Section A. You can get a sense of the scale of this system we have yet to explore. There's 1.5 kilometers of trend along that structure with oxide gold associated with it. And you can see the soil anomalism surrounding that, which is about 4 kilometers by 2 kilometers. Some reconnaissance drilling in the area has given us up to 70 grams per ton over 2 meters, almost a kilometer east of this. So just, again, an exceptionally robust new discovery that we're following up on. In terms of plans for this year, we currently sit on a 1.1 million ounce resource at just over 2 grams per ton. We're doing diamond drilling on each of those areas you see in brown on the left-hand side, as well as the RC drilling I spoke about. Our target for this year is to exceed 2 million ounces with a resource update towards the end of this year. I expect coming out of that, we'll get visibility on additional resources and look towards a 3 million ounce resource as we move through next year. The other side of the story here is the shovel-ready Bayern Hyundai project. I shared with you the resource. The grade of this is exceptional for an open pit, 3.7 grams per ton, which puts it in pretty rare company in our business. The pit itself is a small footprint, conventional processing methods, free milling, 93% recovery, no sulfides associated with it, so it recovers exceptionally well. 1,800 ton per day that will produce somewhere between 75 and 80,000 ounces per year at that initial phase of development. The NPV you can see on the left-hand side at current gold prices is over 200 million. Current market cap for the company is around 100 million US. You can see exceptional IRRs on the right-hand side at current gold prices better than 70% IRR. The numbers at the bottom of the page came out of our feasibility study, so with inflation those numbers are increasing, but with the return on investment on this, we have a very robust economic development that will be generating $40 to $50 million a year in free cash flow over the initial 6 years shown in the feasibility. But already with the additional exploration success we've had, we can see well in excess of 10 years of development at Bayern Hyundai. We have the backing of a number of recognized groups, both on the retail, equity, and debt side. Export Development Canada is leading the senior debt side with a $55 to $60 million investment. The European Bank is our second largest investor after Eric Sprott, who owns 14%. And we are in discussions with commercial banks in Mongolia to provide some of that debt funding as well. Early phase construction readiness work underway on site. We're in an area of southern Mongolia that's seen tremendous infrastructure growth that was considered completely remote 10, 15 years ago. So all of the railways, mines, and highways you see in this area now have been built over the last 15 years. Mongolia is well recognized for the Oyu Tolgoi deposit, which is now moving into phase 2 development, probably a $12 to $15 billion spend by Rio Tinto. A number of emerging gold projects, hard rock gold projects, both heap leach and CIP established in the country. We've been 15 years in the same province, so we've developed a very strong social license to operate in the province in which we work. A strong board. I don't think you could replicate this board in terms of Mongolian experience. We have Canada's first ambassador to Mongolia, Cameron McRae, who ran the first phase of Oyu Tolgoi's $6 billion development. And just to wrap things up, on the corporate side, we do have $100 million US market cap. You can see how our shares have performed on the left-hand side relative to our peers and the indices. The exploration results we've been generating have put us in, I guess, a rare place in terms of continued appreciation of share price evaluation. And to wrap things up here, we are first movers in a non-explored portion of one of the world's great copper gold belts. We have discovered multiple high-grade open-pittable gold deposits and prospects with district-scale potential. 2 of those have just been found in the last 18 months, and we continue to explore those. We have a cornerstone, shovel-ready, high-grade open-pit deposit that's now permitted and ready to move into construction. And we'll see significant free cash flow come out of that initial development to continue to unlock what we see as the treasures of the new Hyundai mine district. Thank you very much. I took a couple minutes.